on Breakfast Ball, you've had a couple of minutes to get to the Bears and what they've done. For the folks here that care about your opinion on the Bears, how did you think they did?
Yeah, I think that draft analysis is funny because there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of experts in it. It's a cottage industry. And if a guy is the 15th ranked player and you draft him 10th, you overdrafted him. And if the guy's the 15th ranked player and you drafted him 20th, you got a steal. But clearly the NFL general managers don't agree with the mock drafters. Case in point, Shedeur Sanders. So, grades are ridiculous. I think what I said about the Colston Loveland pick is what the majority of people I assume said is that's a Ben Johnson pick. There was no first round pick that was more directly influenced by the head coach than that pick in the first round. Like the Chiefs drafting Josh Simmons was a 4-need pick. They had 4 guys play left tackle. They drafted a left tackle to protect Patrick Mahomes. But that was a coach pick. And if you love Ben Johnson, and I don't know how any Bears fan could be out on him at this point, I think you have to love the pick. And as good as Ashton Genty seems, it's one thing to draft a running back in the top 10. Some of them have been successful. Some of them haven't been. And I was afraid of it simply for, are the Bears ready for it? To me, that's a icing on the cake type of thing. That's not a as you're building type of thing. But I would have trusted Ben Johnson if he did it. But trading up for a running back at that point of the draft, that only turns out poorly. I can't think of a trade into the top 5 for a running back that's age well. Basically, it's never happened. Trent Richardson's the only one, and that was a disaster. So it's just trading into the top 5 for a non-premium position almost exclusively in NFL history is a bad idea. There are a few exceptions. Julio Jones is an exception, but there are. You want to trade up. Will Anderson for the Texans is an exception, but I think put that in a totally different bucket because they had also drafted C.J. Stroud in the same draft, right? So they were getting quarterback on a rookie deal and edge rusher on a rookie deal. But I just never bought that they would trade up for a running back, even though it would have been wildly exciting. So I know that's only the first round, and you asked about the whole draft, but that was my main takeaway, was they would have taken Genty if he fell. Because he didn't, they wanted to go blue-chip offensive upside for a guy who fit with Ben Johnson.
We're in the exact same place on this, Danny, because when I heard people talking about it draft morning, I'm like, that sounds silly to do. If he's there, then you do it. And you go, hey, this guy could be exciting. But the idea of giving away capital for that move to me would have been a kind of a nightmare scenario. I'd have been like, what are they doing up there?
Well, think about how good he would have to be
yes.
to justify it. You're basically saying, Alvin Kamara is the floor. He has to be Bijan Robinson would be a disappointment if he became that.
And I would argue that Bijan Robinson is a disappointment for a top 10 draft pick.
Right. Well, but he's also very clearly good.
Sure.
But they weren't ready to use a top 10 pick on a running back. Saquon Barkley was not disappointing as a Giant. He was awesome as a Giant. Then he got hurt. It was being the second overall pick that made it a bad pick, right? And then obviously injury played a part in it. But nobody doubted that Saquon Barkley was awesome, and then he goes to Philly and he has arguably the best running back season ever. So
no, you're right. The context of it changes the way we perceive it for sure. Look, it was absolutely a Ben pick. The whole draft was kind of a Ben draft. But that's the way it's supposed to be. How many times did we hang out and talk on Parkins and Spiegel or Spiegel and Parkins? And we've talked about it so much here on Spiegel and Holmes about the Bears needing to have a head coach that they allowed to be the philosophical godhead of the organization. They were afraid to do it. For decades, they were afraid to do it. They're no longer afraid to do it. This is Ben's organization, and that is sensible in terms of the way the NFL should be run right now.
Yeah, I think if you hire him and you pay him, you have to empower him. And it's not, the council has more power than Jed right now. He makes more money. But, Ben Johnson has more power than Ryan Poles. He makes more money. And so I think that you can't be out on Ben Johnson yet. He hasn't coached a game. You know, the Luther Burden pick is fascinating too. He's unbelievably talented, but he had some quit in his game at Missouri last year. And whether that was because they had a disappointing season and they had bad quarterback play and they thought they were going to be a playoff team and they weren't, and he was focused on the draft. Like, he is a first-round talent. I had someone with Missouri football tell me that he is the best recruit in the history of Missouri football. And
wow.
In terms of, yeah, exactly. Like, and that's Chase Daniel, Jeremy Maclin, Alden Smith, Dorial Green Beckham. Like, you know, they have gotten some real players to go there. And they say that when they got him, he was the biggest deal for that program in terms of the caliber of the player that they were getting. And with the ball in his hands, he's crazy explosive. That is a very high upside pick, which I love. Like, swing for the fences, try to hit the home run, all of those sorts of analogies. And so Antoine Randall, like, that's your project. He can't be an 80% guy. Like, if he gives max effort and is fully bought in and you turn him into a professional football player, just not a guy who plays pro sports, but a true professional, he could be the steal of the draft. He's that talented. That's at least how it was described to me.
Danny, how are you enjoying Cubs season?
Casually. Oh, it's so great. Oh my God, is it awesome?
Wait a minute. That sounds like a guy not watching the games and knows he doesn't have to, and he's allowed to, and enjoying highlights every once in a while. That's
Daily.
what casually sounded like.
Daily highlights. Daily highlights. Yes.
The games are good too. Just so you know, the actual games are also good.
When I happen to stumble across one, I'm fine with how that's going.
Do you get Marquee in New Jersey, Danny?
I don't know. Yeah, listen.
Amazing.
Okay, now I got a lot of thoughts though. And then
it never stopped you before. It never once stopped you before.
Yeah, I got a lot of thoughts, and then I do want to talk about Shane. But Kyle Tucker, the discourse here. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. There's no precedent ever for a guy on a rental signing early, right? It's never happened.
Yeah, I can't think of some. It's happened, but
who?
I'm trying to think of like someone that is definitely headed towards big money, who would then sign away their rights to getting the big money. I can't come up with anyone.
You mean an in-season rental, or
I'm saying a player who is a year away from free agency.
Yeah,
who is playing 1 year with a team, and then signing with that team early. It's such an unreasonable ask.
Hold on. I don't agree with that, because
this is the fight we've been having on the show.
Well, but hold on, because
the Cubs should want to pay him, and the Cubs should try to win.
But hold on,
the bidding.
Well,
the idea that he would sign early is hard for me to imagine.
Well, are you talking only MLB?
Yes.
Oh, okay, because the NBA and the NFL is full of examples where a guy's got 1 year left on the deal, and that's when a trade happens and he signs the extension with the new team. It happens all the time.
Oh,
right?
No, but the deals are capped in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Luka can sign a max deal that is the same deal that the Lakers could offer him, that the Rockets could offer him, that the Knicks could offer them. The only team that could sign Luka to a longer, more lucrative deal would have been Dallas, his current team. That's what the bird rights were. Like, in baseball, as you well know, it's an open market. So the thing that drives the most money is the most people bidding on your services. Football contracts, while not as slotted in free agency, like, I can probably tell you within $1 million or two what Micah Parsons is going to sign with, because you just go to the Myles Garrett deal, you add 2 to 5%, and that's the contract. You know, like, there's not in those sports, like if Juan Soto would have been traded and then signed before hitting free agency, that would be a comp for this. Like Vlad Guerrero, he's been with Toronto for forever. Mm-hmm. He's what, 30 years old? He's done all of his ARB years. He got traded. He is 4 months away from 20 billionaires calling his agent and inquiring on a price, the idea that like Wrigley Field magic is going to make him give that up.
He's 28.
28, excuse me. Like, but that he's going to give that up 4 months early, it is such an unreasonable ask of a human being that none of us would do or advise our son or friend to do. Like, sign as a Cub if you want to, for sure, and I hope they pay him. Like, lefty power, man, it's basically the most valuable thing in the sport. He's awesome, but sign early, that just feels like wasted breath. Like, I can't, unless you can say it happened with Bryce Harper, or it happened with Juan Soto, or it happened with...
Well, like, there are some people making the argument that it happened with Mookie Betts, and I would say the difference is, and this is one of my issues with the thing with Tucker, if they were going to do it, they should have done it upon getting the trade done. That's
did Betts play?
Betts played, and then he was
final year of the deal,
right?
But I'm saying, when did he sign?
He signed in February, which is what I'm saying. Like, if you were going to get a deal done with Kyle Tucker, then that deal needed to be done right after the trade, and you need to wow him and go, "Hey, man, we're all in. Here's $400 million right now."
Okay, and listen, if Mookie Betts is the answer, and then there's your precedent, okay, great.
No, but Danny, where I think that you're right is once you let him get into the season, it's too late.
The money's going up. It's going up every time. So let me get this straight. So the wasted breath thing. So you wouldn't be, if you were here, you wouldn't be advocating for fans to do whatever they can, for us as talk show hosts to do whatever we can, for Operation Woo Kyle Tucker. Because I'm the chairman of Operation Woo Kyle Tucker, and I feel like you're telling me my breath is wasted, and it's bringing up a lot of issues from our time together. Frankly,
listen, you know I love a stunt, Speaks.
I know you do.
Like Omar Infante was going to get those all-star votes, but I still attached myself to it to make people think that it was my doing.
Right. You'd be all over Operation Woo Kyle Tucker. Don't pretend you wouldn't be, sir.
But of course. But I wouldn't be setting up the expectation like he might sign in June. I would want, like, when he signs in the offseason, him to say, "I felt the love from Cubs fans all year, #woo Kyle Tucker." Like, you know what I mean? Like, the goal would be that he shouts you out on the back end, not that it's actually possible that it happens before an in-season series with the Diamondbacks.
I'll look for more precedent for this conversation. Yeah, it's a good one.
I think it matters a ton in the sport.
So, Danny, every couple weeks we'll check in with you, right?
Yeah, whenever you guys want, really. I mean, there's no, as much or as little as you want. Hopefully, at least every couple of weeks, that'd be great. But I'm here, man. I'm available.
By the way, Mookie Betts signed his extension in July of his first season in L.A. So there's your direct corollary.
Okay,
a 12-year, $300+ million deal signed with the Dodgers in July of his first season after being traded for Alex Verdugo and a lot more.
So he was a month and a half away from free agency.
Correct.
Okay. So
two and a half months away.
So there's your comp.
Yep.
All right. And again, if the answer is there's one comp, the rational thought provider in me Speaks would say you're arguing the exception rather than the rule.
And I would add that is the one place where you knew you were going to get every dollar. Like, that's the one place where you don't have to go shop it.
Yeah.
Because the place that's going to pay you the most money is the place where you're sitting at, which the Cubs should be.
This is the moment, Lawrence. And Lawrence has been saying, bully them hoes. This is your moment to offer him $550 in June or July and just get the deal done. I bet he takes $550 in June or July.
550 is a very big number.
Yes, it sure is.
Yeah, that's a lot of zeros.
They got to go to 500 to get it done, and I think they might take 550, and this is their moment to do it.
God, they could have had Bryce Harper for $200 million less than that.
How about that? And he wanted to be here.
And they didn't engage.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, price of the brick goes up. Like, that's
right. That's right, Fat Joe.
But this is a different moment.
$100 million.
That was a moment where you Darvish money looked bad, and like.
No, I know.
So it was a different moment. We'll do it now.
And am I right? The Cubs have never signed anyone for more than $200 million.
Right. It's
Jason Hayward is the biggest deal in the history. Yeah,
186.
That's the biggest deal in the history of the franchise.
That's a big jump to 550.
It's time. Step up.
You might be right about that. We'll see.